That is the hardest part of that ring.
For the hardest part of the ring.
Hello and welcome to episode number 109 of Hardest Part of the Ring, the podcast where four friends get together to celebrate the wonder of professional wrestling. My name is Adam and it is 2 weeks since we last recorded. Hope everybody is staying alert and controlling the virus.
Oh, nice. Work that message in, Adam. Nice, good. Get that
important. Government
money.
Yeah, it's really important that I make that clear to everybody, so that everybody knows exactly what they're supposed to be doing throughout the podcast. That was John who was speaking. Hello, John.
Hi guys. How you doing?
You cut my place. I was waiting.
Stole it.
Sam usually gets to go first, but how are you, Sam?
Upset is what I am.
Brett?
I'm faithfully bringing up the rear. Hello, I'm good.
As always, good. It has been 2 weeks. I want to know, because it's felt like a lifetime. I mean, it's a strange vortex lockdown anyway, but it's just felt like such a long time since we recorded. What is the best thing you've done in the last 2 weeks? Sam? Because there's not many options these days, so I want you to give us your highlights.
Nearly completed Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh, is it any good? I keep thinking about buying it, but I don't like Final Fantasy games.
Well, don't buy it.
A tough sell.
But I've heard this is different. Like I don't really like the whole JPG combat system.
No, I don't either. I don't either. Turn-based.
The combat took me a while to get used to. It's not turn-based, but it kind of is. It's weird.
My God.
Card just drove past really fast.
That was amazing.
Well, yeah. No, it's decent. I like it, but then I like the original Final Fantasy VII. So
I did start playing it ages ago on my Vita, and I just like I don't like this.
Really,
you started playing Final Fantasy VII on Vita. Is that even possible?
It
takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. You got to really move those sesame seeds.
John, what's been your highlight? What's the best thing you've done in the last 2 weeks?
I have completely given up on underwear over the last 2 weeks. I've been completely commando.
Yeah, John.
I feel like in lockdown, there's just no place for underwear. No point.
You're very right. Wait, are you not wearing underwear at the moment?
I seriously am not. I'm wearing
you were
shorts.
on camera not like 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, I'm wearing shorts, but just no underwear between. It's just one layer of protection between me and my junk.
So does that mean, just moving swiftly on from the word junk, does that mean that you are washing, like, are those shorts going to go straight to the wash tonight?
I don't think I've washed these shorts in.
Oh, my days.
John. I think
it's just me and the wife.
Who of us would have thought John would have been the grimy one?
I know.
Yeah.
Wait, who do you think was going to be the grimy one? Because it definitely wasn't Adam.
No comment, Sam.
Yeah, no comment from me either.
What I would say in your defence, John, is that you have a penchant for wearing incredibly skinny jeans and probably tight-fitting clothes. So,
I mean, that's the other thing. I think I wore a pair of jeans yesterday because it was cold, but it's just been shorts.
Cycling
wait,
shorts.
Were you underwearless with the jeans?
Yeah.
Oh, that's chaos. That is.
I do have one pair of shorts, which are denim shorts, and they've got quite an abrasive zip. They've definitely worked their way out of rotation.
Why am I picturing you in a little pair of Daisy Dukes right now?
Just as Mickey James on the back.
My balls hanging out one side.
Brett, save us, Brett. Tell us something that doesn't involve Final Fantasy or balls against legs.
John's fantasies.
I'm proud of some gardening I've done because I hate gardening and I got our garden in order.
So much more wholesome.
Yeah, and I've been fine-tuning my fine art skills with some painting, so I've been being all, highbrow.
What paints have you been using, Brett? Oils or acrylics?
Oils and gouache.
Ooh, very nice.
Sounds very gauche.
Well, since you asked me, I got a kitten. We got a new kitten.
Your kitten is adorable as well.
Twiglet, yeah?
Yeah, it's called Twiglet. Basically, we at Christmas, just before Christmas, didn't know what to get my wife. And I know that she's wanted to get another cat for a long time. And so I basically bought her a big bag of cat litter for Christmas and said, "You're getting a new kitten." She was delighted, and then we put our names down for a couple of different cat shelters and just didn't hear for ages, and then suddenly out of the blue a couple of weeks ago, in the middle of lockdown, got a call from the RSPCA to say they've rescued a load of cats. Do we want to take one? We can't go and visit it, obviously, because of what's going on. They'll just drop it off. So we took a real gamble. We agreed to it. We paid the donation, and they just dropped off this kitten. And luckily, it is mega cute and seriously good fun. And it's been a great distraction.
How is he or she getting along with Bella?
Bella, who is our other cat listener, I'm sure you don't know that. They're doing okay, doing a lot better than I expected.
Are you impressed that I remembered your cat's name, your first cat's name?
I am. I'm very impressed.
I can't believe we're glossing over the fact Adam brought his wife for Christmas a bag of cat litter and nothing else. And note saying we will get a kitten at some point.
Yeah, that's quality.
I found myself a bit short before Christmas in terms of money and being like, shit, the kind of thing I'd like to buy for Hannah, I can't really afford. So this is a good way of not having to pay for it until a lot later. And I only, basically paid for a Christmas present 2 weeks ago. But we have a kitten and it is amazing. And I highly recommend it to anybody out there.
You know, I'm planning on getting a cat very soon.
Do it.
Good. Rescue? Got to be a
fussed.
rescue. Not fussed.
Not fussed. Rescue, pure breed, whatever kind of I can find, really.
Whatever you can find.
Yeah.
Just go and steal somebody else's.
Basically.
Good. Well, that is 6 minutes of quality banter from Hardest Part of the Ring that you always expect before we talk about what happened in the last episode, which was the spring quiz. I loved that episode. I think that's one of the funnest quizzes we've had. And I think we should be honest and say, really, over the last 2 weeks, we've all just been basking in John's glory from that Keith Lee answer.
Have you received your prize yet, Adam?
No. Checking the post, waiting by the door every day.
Has it come? Has it come? Is today the day?
Although, knowing that John likes to go commando, maybe I don't want that back.
A bit of a Xavier Woods incident.
Oh, God. No, bro. This podcast is going to be a pay-per-view review. I don't know about you guys, but I was pretty pumped to actually have something to watch and review. It's WWE Money in the Bank 2020, and we're going to talk about it after this.
Oh, wait a minute. He's going for it on the apron, the hardest part of the ring, and both superstars down on the outside.
WWE Money in the Bank 2020 was held at two venues, the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida, and the WWE Global Headquarters, also known as Titan Towers in Stamford,
I have a theory that it
Connecticut.
was actually held in 3 venues.
Go on.
It was the Performance Center, it was at Titan Towers, and I think a portion of it was in King Corbin's head as well.
Actually, probably 4, because I think a portion of that's definitely my man's house.
Yeah.
That is very true. So obvious. Interestingly, I mean, we just before recording, we were talking about the poster for this pay-per-view, and I'm a fan of it. The other guys, not so much. But on that poster, it makes it look like a really high-rise building, doesn't it? And actually, from the big aerial shots, it clearly wasn't. And I looked into this. The global headquarters has 7 floors, which stands at 84.8 feet high. Just to compare that, the Gherkin in London has 41 floors and is 591 feet.
A little unfair.
I'm glad that you're going with the Gherkin, that famous skyscraper.
I'm going with buildings that hopefully people will know in this country. You know
the Gherkin.
It's the one that looks like a dildo.
Not a Gherkin.
Well,
Okay.
if in Wikipedia it's called the Gherkin.
It's known as
but
the
we all know
Gherkin.
what it looks like.
Yeah.
It's definitely called the Gherkin.
The Shard, and this is unfair because it's one of the highest buildings in the world, 96 floors, over 1,000 feet.
It's tall.
Pretty amazing, hey guys. But anyway,
Has anyone been to the top of that? I haven't been to the top of that.
no, I
Tall?
haven't.
Nope.
It's
Does
very
it,
tall.
does it really exist? Questions.
Oh God, conspiracy.
I'm always
John.
thinking if I get to choose the way I go, a parachuting accident involving landing on the Shard would be quite a cool way.
Landing on the shard. So
yeah.
you've come from higher and you've landed on top of the highest building.
Yeah, well, it was a good parachute jump in my head.
Oh, you know, Sam, he died on the shard. No, not off the shard. He died on it, like literally impaled on it.
Yeah, exactly, right?
They'd be like, "Who's Sam? Sam?" The attendance for these shows or this show in different locations was 0, unless you count John Laurinaitis and...
Dana Brooke was a spectator.
Oh, that's not fair.
She had a good showing.
She basically got the briefcase.
Yeah.
And then we had a comms team of all the comms teams. I won't go into detail. Although, speaking of comms teams, what do you reckon's going on with the international announce teams these days? Are they just doing it from home? Because surely
great
people in Spain are still
question.
watching.
I wonder if they've flown home, though.
I should look into this because the TV sports service I work for takes in the German feed of WWE, and I haven't checked. So I'll look into that and get back to you.
Because I'm guessing that the setup for this, it wasn't all recorded live. I mean, especially the final match, obviously. But do you think the Spanish people are watching it and reacting live, or do they get the tapes beforehand? I just don't know. I need to know.
I think I read somewhere it was recorded a few weeks ago. All of it. Don't know.
Well, they had the live thing in the top right-hand corner, and I tend to believe any graphic I see on TV. I mean, they did that for WrestleMania, but...
And you have been staying alert a lot recently.
Exactly. I was checking all four corners of the screen. So those are the details for the pay-per-view. The card, Sam, tell us what happened.
So on the pre-show we had Jeff Hardy versus Cesaro. Brett, any good?
I watched some of it. It was okay. I was surprised at how long it was because I started watching it. I went off to make a cup of tea or something, and it was still on when I came back.
Is that what you've been doing with the pre-show?
I question
the pre-show.
No. you didn't watch it, basically.
I watched half of it.
Just stick on a match, go and do something else.
Did you watch the end half or the beginning half?
To be honest, I watched probably the beginning and end, so half in the middle I probably missed. But having said that, I do not remember what happened at the end.
What a fantastic correspondent you are when it comes to the pre-show.
I suppose the next question is, how was your cup of tea? Was it worth it and was it good?
It was lovely. A lovely peppermint tea.
Are you milking first and then hot water, or milking after?
He's just said he's a peppermint guy.
Yeah, it was a peppermint tea, but it's only ever milk first in China.
What?
In China, like the material, or China the country?
China the material. A China teacup.
Or the wrestler?
Oh, my days. In a China teacup.
I'm so pleased John made this relevant again, because this definitely feels like a podcast that's going to go off on a lot of tangents because we're all craving other people's company so much. So thanks, John, for bringing it back round to wrestling. Let's go to the main card.
Main card, we had a fatal four-way for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Forgotten Sons versus Miz and Moza versus Lucha House Party versus The New Day. We then had Lashley versus R-Truth. After that, we had Bayley versus Tamina for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. We then had Braun Strowman versus Bray Wyatt, but not The Fiend, for the Universal title. We had Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins for the WWE Championship. And then your main event, we had a Money in the Bank ladder match of Asuka versus Carmella versus Dana Brooke versus Lacey Evans versus Nia Jax versus Shayna Baszler, while simultaneously having AJ Styles versus Aleister Black versus Daniel Bryan versus King Corbin versus Otis versus Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
That's the card.
That was crazy, and I can't wait to talk about it. But we're going to do things slightly different this week, because we usually do our key matches right at the start and then do best of the rest, worst of the rest. The reason we moved to that format was because pay-per-views got so bloody long on WWE that it was hard to just do everything chronologically. But oh my God, yesterday when Sam sent the message on our WhatsApp group and said that Money in the Bank was 2 hours and 20 minutes, it's the happiest I've been in lockdown.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the most over thing that WWE have ever done.
It was such great news, and because it's relatively short and a couple of the matches just mean absolutely nothing, so there won't be much to say, we're going to do things chronologically, which means in the order that they happened. Okay?
Thank you, Adam.
Thanks.
All right, good. So we're going to start off with the SmackDown Tag Titles match, the Fatal 4-Way. We actually had 4 tag teams, not just individuals like we had at WrestleMania. First thing, enjoyed Big E's people at home. That was great. What do we reckon? Brett, why don't you kick us off?
Me?
Yeah,
I
was so shocked when I come to you.
Yeah, no, this was good
Brett
fun.
started watching, made a cup of tea,
Yeah,
and then
no, this was good fun. I did think at moments that early on that a couple of the wrestlers seemed a bit sluggish in it. I don't know whether it's because maybe the hour they were actually recording it, because I have no idea when they were recording it, or whether it was due to not having a crowd to get them pumped. I don't know. There just seemed to be like a few moments where things weren't really connecting. Like
It must be
Kofi
quite
going
hard for
for
these
stuff
guys.
and everything, and he's usually like, you know, consistent and on the money, and it was just like, it just felt at moments a bit sluggish, but then obviously it does pick up. Maybe that was just
It must
me.
be hard for them working because obviously they're so used to a crowd and they work basically 5 days a week in front of audiences. To suddenly go to no crowd and nothing to vibe off.
It must
be
yeah,
really
it must
hard.
feel like training, you know, like
Yeah.
as opposed to live performance.
I think they're doing probably a job that they should have done a long time ago with the tag team division and actually building up a few tag teams here. Like, kind of,
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed seeing Miz and Morrison. Obviously, kind of like Forgotten Sons. I'm enjoying it for what it's worth. The Lucha House Party as well. Kind of like if they start putting a little bit of momentum behind those guys, which perhaps means stop eating the pin every match.
True.
And maybe even renaming them.
Yeah, and keeping them
Be onto something.
Dorada and Metallic as well, like those two. They're so good.
Dorado, the air that he gets is incredible. I don't know if it's just a perspective thing because he's tiny, but he gets
we
amazing
also-
air every time.
Point out one of the coolest things ever is the fact that no one knows Grand Metalic's true identity. That's really cool. Like, in the age of broken kayfabe and everything, Grand Metalik, the person who he is just unknown.
Is he getting slender as well? He looked a bit more trim.
They could be
didn't he?
changing
Yeah.
the guy who plays him
Yeah,
every single
they
week,
could
and
be.
we'd have no idea.
That hair
His
could
hair,
be like Liger's,
yeah,
couldn't
it
it?
looked mental, didn't it? This time it was huge.
Just part of the Lucha mask.
I think you're right about those guys. If you rebrand them, I think they could be onto something. They're so good, and I think they could get so over. But like Lucha House Party doesn't make you think they're badasses, does it?
No.
Why are they called House Party? It's just stupid. It's proper Vince McMahon naming, isn't it?
Well,
Like,
Yeah,
it
really
also
is, yeah.
goes along with Kalisto's like lucha for the kids bit, you know.
Yeah,
I suppose, but I don't know. It's one of those weird things. But I suppose, kind of like, not taken away from the actual match itself, this was a decent opening match, I think.
yeah, it was fun.
They WWE, the amount of multi-man tag matches that we've reviewed that have been great. They're always great. I thought this was really good, and I thought it was actually really quite fluid in terms of the amount of stuff, the amount of spots they're having to fit in, and the amount of wrestlers involved. I thought it was great from start to finish, actually.
Yeah, I think John Morrison's been really good since he's come back
Yeah.
to WWE.
Yeah.
I think actually Miz is probably holding him back, if anything, because Miz, I feel like, is so Magnolia these days. Like, I don't know what he is. He's just a nothing wrestler.
He's very, very kind of mid-tier, isn't he? He's sort of just kind of fitting into whatever corporate role the company needs him to do. And it's not a bad thing, but it's also not an exciting thing.
No, maybe
think
he's happy taking a bit of a back seat for a while.
Yeah, he's got all the
He's
TV
got-
stuff.
He's a
and
dad.
family.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time you get these guys who are really great fun to be around, and then they become a dad, and then they're just total losers. Not me though, guys. Just clicking my fingers like
Oh,
somebody.
you did that
hit.
thing, didn't you, where you shake your hand and you think it's 2003?
What's up?
Okay.
Okay. Oh god, I actually felt really like my own dad then. That was horrible. Although if you're listening, Dad, I love you.
Do you?
Do I?
Lashley versus R-Truth.
Thank you so much.
Oh.
Well, I mean, we thought it was going to be R-Truth versus MVP. And as that started coming on, I was like, what and why? And honestly, who gives a fuck about this? Obviously,
guy does, though.
R-Truth's funny.
Yeah, we love
his
R-Truth.
crowd work was great.
In bits, he's funny in bits. The bits of this I found funny, and bits of it, like the whole baller thing where he's like shooting hoop, that went on too long. I did not find that funny at all.
Liked it at the start. The 3 and the 6 points, yes. 9 points, no.
Yeah,
There's nothing to say here.
R-Truth is all right. He's okay. He kind of... I want to see him in a tag team with Toriano.
Thought you were going to say Tori
Make
Amos.
it happen.
The thing I found most worried about this match is, man, they are building up Bobby Lashley.
I think they're putting him in a stable with MVP. I think MVP is.
You think stable rather than just MVP being the mouthpiece because Lashley can't talk?
Nope.
No, I think they are actually building a stable around MVP.
Oh, right.
Kind of in a Zelina Vega kind of managerial vibe. I believe so, because I think they're kind of like attaching him with Shane Thorne and Brandon Vink as well.
Oh, yeah, they were
weird,
in
that,
a
isn't it?
tag match, weren't they, on Raw?
Yeah.
Random selection. I think that is very much similar to this match in that they are filling some time with the talent that's available at the moment.
I love a stable, though. I'm all for that. And MVP is amazing on the mic.
We did our top 5 stables once, didn't we? What episode was that? People, listeners, go back and check that out. That was very early. Should we just move on from this match, though?
Yeah, there's not much to talk about, and it was rubbish.
There isn't. Next up was a championship match, and it was Bayley with, I'm just going to say, hot Sasha Banks.
Okay, so here's the thing. If you put any athlete in red latex, they'll probably look hot.
Yeah, it was crazy. Versus Tamina.
What about Tamina in a red latex, guys? How do you feel about that?
Yes. I'm sure
Do you
she'd be lovely.
do you count Tamina as an athlete?
Oh,
I did actually think
fucking
during this,
shady from Sam.
Yeah.
if you were playing WWE Top Trumps and you got Tamina and then somebody like picks agility, you are fucked. You are.
To be fair,
so slow in this match as well. She was slower than.
I thought this was a good Tamina match.
I think this was the best Tamina match I've ever seen. It was still one of the slowest wrestlers I've ever seen in the ring.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing with Tamina, right, is that kind of it's a miracle that she somehow managed to dodge the big old cut down of wrestlers. When
I think this was her 10-year anniversary as well. I think she's been WWE for 10 years.
That's wild. That is. I'm wondering if there's someone who's been there and done less than she has.
Yeah. I thought there were one or two things that were pretty cool. The bit where she swung when they were on the outside, she swung Bayley into the ropes and then clotheslined her.
Yeah.
You know, I'm being overly harsh because I did enjoy this match.
It was decent. Yeah, it was good.
I think Bayley is getting surprisingly mouthy.
I love the new Bayley. I'm
I'm
big
not sure
fan.
about calling people out on getting therapy and stuff.
Yeah, that was a bit weird, wasn't it?
Well,
Strange heelness.
yeah, but I think the pair of them, Bayley and Sasha, are great, and the fact that the no crowd thing in this match worked well because to be able to hear them chatting and to hear the interactions that Bayley had with the comms team, which she did at WrestleMania as well, grabbing the water from Corey, and I thought that all worked really nicely. It was really good fun. It was a fun match, I thought.
Far better than it had any right to be.
Yeah,
Bayley's interactions with the comms teams have been the best thing about her in this lockdown so far.
Yeah, well, I don't know why more aren't doing it because, play to the... Obviously, you're playing to the camera, but, the audience that you've actually got there, interact with them because now that's something that can get over because there's no one drowning you out.
I suppose the big question is, when are they going to pull the trigger on the Sasha Bayley?
I feel like we said this a lot, but it feels like it's coming soon.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether they're building maybe towards a SummerSlam kind of...
it's so weird because they have almost done it a few times and then they kind of messed up. I'd kind of be happy for them to just remain a fairly tight team for a while.
That's what I think is going to happen. I think there are going to be more of these little teasers of like Bayley talking over Sasha or talking for her and stuff. I think that's going to be going on for a little while, and they'll keep teasing it, but then they're like tight and so that it does go on for a long time. And then maybe because it goes on for so long, when it does come, it's actually then a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I think kind of like, do you remember when both Becky and Charlotte had moments where they snapped in the last kind of couple of years or so?
Yep.
Where it was just like, when are they going to do this? When are they going to do that? And kind of both of them turned heel by snapping. And I'm wondering whether they're going to have something similar with Sasha at some point soon.
It's a bit bonkers they've kept them apart for so long, though, isn't it? Because, I mean, one of their matches in NXT is one of the greatest women's matches of all time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so bonkers that they've kept them apart so long. It feels like there's so much money and great stuff there.
That match was built under a very specific premise, though, of kind of like Bayley being such an over face and having such an underdog kind of run in NXT. That kind of her building that up in NXT felt very organic and enjoyable to watch, whereas Sasha was kind of top heel there. And now they've kind of sort of muddied the waters a little bit, and it's been like a few years. The kind of the heat in the drive isn't there anymore. It's kind of... You would probably need a different angle at this point in time, I think.
Yeah. Well, that was a nice roundup, Sam. I think you've left us all completely speechless with your analysis.
Right, thank you.
Happens regularly. Should we move on?
Let's move on.
Let's. We go now to the Universal Championship match between Bray Wyatt and the champ, possibly the best champion of Lockdown. Or is that true? Or Charlotte or Bayley. Okay, Braun Strowman was the other wrestler in this match. How do we feel about the story? I mean, it totally makes sense, this storyline, doesn't it? The build, Bray going back to the Wyatt family stuff with the mask and all that stuff. I mean, we'll talk about the use of the mask in the match shortly. But the idea makes sense, right?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. It's interesting as well. I'm on board with it. I'm kind of interested to see where this goes.
I don't think Braun played into it enough for it to be a thing. Like it was totally
Braun
being sold
act.
by Bray, and Braun didn't even like pretend to go for it. You know, like at no point did it seem like it was going to work, which ruined it.
The thing with these Bray Wyatt matches, it very much is kind of like you need buy-in from the opponent, like kind of Seth Rollins being scared or John Cena being like, what's going on here? Like, if you
Daniel
don't have
Bryan.
that,
Yeah.
you kind of end up with like one person being like, ooh, I'm spooky, I'm a clown, and the other person being like, I'm the champ. And it's just kind of like, who cares?
Yeah, you don't know
know.
me.
I quite like this, and I thought it worked because obviously he didn't come out as a Fiend; he came out as Bray. So
How cool is that you can just have a gimmick where you can basically just play two completely different characters, both of them unhinged. But I love him coming down waving, and then early on in the match when he was like, "Oh, you are strong."
yeah, and
Yeah.
talking to the comms
Funny.
team as well. It was
Yeah,
cool.
they're
Yes,
doing great.
I'm a bit nervous, but I'm going to enjoy it. I'm excited. It's so.
Yeah.
It's
I think
really
it's
cool.
quite clever because it allows him to take a loss without affecting like the Fiend's credibility.
Yeah.
This is the Finn Balor school of
Yeah.
wrestling.
I think it's better.
Yeah.
I think it is better.
Yeah,
I don't
I-
necessarily think he's a better wrestler, but I think I prefer the gimmick.
He goes into the character more as well. I think in match. Like
Yeah, there is a character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just a headdress.
And I enjoyed I enjoyed all the the puppets around the ring and stuff.
it's
And
different.
kudos to Bray for wrestling in a sweater like that because
yeah, I was
that must have
thinking
been
that.
hot.
kept
and
riding up, didn't it?
comfortable.
Was there more than one puppet? 'Cause I only saw the pig.
Yeah, there was
The Crow, didn't the Crow make an appearance?
there
or
was
that
like
just
3 or
Fiend?
4 of them at the end.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I must have missed that.
Making a tea.
making a cup of tea. Yeah,
Yeah.
But no, I really enjoyed the premise and where this potentially could have gone, but I just did not enjoy Braun's side of it.
I thought this was Braun's best match potentially.
Ever?
Can you name a better
The man was in an ambulance match with Roman Reigns. That ended up with the ambulance being smashed into the wall.
Okay.
yeah. This wasn't. I mean, he did a chokeslam, and in fact, this is probably one of his longest matches. Like
Yeah.
he had to go. He had to go.
I still think this is one of his better matches, definitely.
Actually, I could be persuaded. I just think when we got to the bit with the mask, when he popped his head up, I was just, that kind of killed it for me. It just felt so weird and not right because he doesn't have any kind of charisma. He can't act.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It was really weird.
And he's one of the people that, while he has the confidence to talk and be heard when there's no audience,
yeah.
what he says is never good.
Yeah, yeah.
I think kind of this match, it would have had a stronger ending had he kind of actually aligned himself with Bray Wyatt. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe not lost the title. Maybe Bray could have lied down for him in some weird martyrdom kind of thing. But having Bray Wyatt as a mouthpiece for Braun Strowman probably wouldn't be the worst thing.
I think it's too early to do that at this match, but I hope that is what the long-term plan is.
Yeah.
Like I think it has to be that. Like, there's no way the Fiend is losing to Braun, and it would be so cool if the Fiend does turn Braun to make him part of whatever that is. It'd be so cool.
That would be amazing.
You can't have Braun. You can't have Braun doing that when he's the champ. I don't think.
Well, I think you can have Braun as like the hired muscle and the champ, and yet at the same time not be
weird.
the most powerful person in the stable.
Maybe.
I think it's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, I think it'd be so cool with Bray just not even having the belt, but just controlling Braun with the belt.
Yeah,
that would
for
be
sure.
amazing.
It'd give me real, what's it, Paul Bearer kind of Undertaker vibes.
Yeah, totally.
That's true, actually.
Before this match started, I was thinking, like, there's nothing in WWE that makes me excited, that makes me want to tune in every week to see what's going to happen. But the potential of this Braun and Bray stuff is kind of nearly there, I think. I think there's seeds of what could be a very cool storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting, actually. I hadn't really considered that angle, so yeah.
By the way, I don't think they're going to do that at all.
No, it's not.
They probably won't.
I would love them to do that, but I don't think they are going to do it.
No, and if they're not going to do that, I'd like to see them start pitting Bray against people that have the charisma and the chops to go against with all these ideas and the fun stuff that he's coming up with.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, a bit of Sami Zayn.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that'd
totally.
be good. Yeah, that'd be great.
I mean, like, that's why the John Cena thing worked, because, you know, he's found his niche of, like, you know, he's got that charisma, but where the fun is being poked at him, the straight guy, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
in the comedy tandem. So, like, you need those characters to work with.
I mean, to be fair to Braun, I think it's very difficult to follow up on the Firefly Funhouse match he had with Cena because it was so interesting.
And I'm going to say this, I'm sorry, Adam, but it's still mental that Braun is the champion, right? It's bonkers.
Without all the adulation from the crowd he deserves. Yeah, you're right.
The thing is that kind of, it's funny actually with Braun being champ and Drew McIntyre being champ, because both of them are obviously kind of top of the company without, it's hard to say without having earned it, but without having had that kind of cornerstone sort of match that kind of defines them as top of the company. And I think kind of going on to Drew versus Seth, this is something that this next match really did for Drew.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Drew is so much better than Braun Strowman. We joke about the fact he's my guy, and he is, and I do like him, but he's not very good. He's not a very good wrestler, and he doesn't have the charisma, and those are two important things for me when it comes to wrestlers usually. Whereas Drew McIntyre does. He is a very good wrestler. I think he's got the charisma. I think he's got the mic skills, and I think he would be so over right now if there was a crowd. He was really getting there, and I hope he can. I mean, I reckon obviously we don't know what's going to happen in terms of getting crowds back in arenas, but if there were going to be crowds in let's say 2-3 months or something, I reckon Drew can keep the belt until then and be a great champ. No way is Braun going to be keeping it that long.
Do you not reckon?
No.
Just not, because I don't think Vince, and I'm not saying he's just the best at gauging, but I don't think any of the powers that be are going to be watching these matches when there is no crowd and thinking, yeah, he's really carrying this for us. He's keeping this all together whilst we're in this weird time. Whereas I think Drew is.
It's almost like they're just waiting for Roman to come back and be the guy.
Oh, do you reckon?
Yeah, totally.
I suspect that maybe Brock may be in the wings as well at some point for another push at this.
Maybe, but I think they want that, I do probably think they want that decent reign of champion, for being champ for Roman, because I do think he's their guy, post Cena.
I think actually having Drew and Roman as champs at the same time would be a bit too sort of similar in terms of them both being
big dudes,
really good sort of stand-up guys who could go and do all the media stuff.
Yeah.
The thing is with Drew McIntyre is I see him as kind of like someone who is going to hold multiple title reigns. He's going to be like a Batista or a Randy Orton in the future, where it's going to be like, here's Drew McIntyre on his 12th title reign or whatever. Whereas Braun Strowman, I don't see that at the moment. I think kind of there's a long way to go.
Well, his title win came 2 years too late in a way. I think.
I don't think, and I could be doing him a massive disservice. I don't think he's having the title again after this, reign, and I think it's only going to last for a while because of current, lockdown conditions.
I mean, it's a difficult one to see because, like, if you were to take a similar reign like Kevin Owens, he held the Universal title and yet at the same time was clearly not the top guy in the company. And it was one of the most unmemorable title runs you'll see. But at the same time, he's now done enough work to build himself up.
But he's Kevin Owens. Like everyone agrees, he's bloody amazing.
Where is he recently though? I haven't seen him for ages.
I think he's injured. He injured himself at WrestleMania.
Jumping off the sign.
Jumped off that fucking sign.
Yeah.
But I mean, my point is that kind of Kevin Owens, whilst he is amazing, let's be honest here, his title run wasn't exactly memorable, was it? I mean, he ended up jobbing to Goldberg in the end, didn't he?
Oh,
I love the start with
rubbish.
Triple H giving him the belt.
Yeah, it was a strong start, and it was kind of like, it had a very interesting beginning when it was like, you're the man now, and it turns out he wasn't the man at all.
Some 55-year-old Goldberg was.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I mean, that's kind of not to take away from Kevin Owens. He's a great wrestler, and he could easily be top of the company, and the same could be said of Braun in a couple of years or so, or with the right build.
I don't think he's got the charisma to ever be that main guy.
No.
I don't think he's got the skills either. I mean,
All the skills, yeah.
although to be honest, when he runs, it does look impressive. Like he gets like a fair old whack.
Yeah, we should say the what is it called? The Strowman Express. That looked amazing because he fucking went for it. Anyway, shall we move on to the next match, which does feature the current WWE champion Drew McIntyre against a former multi-time champion in Seth Rollins. Should we touch upon straight away Seth Rollins' new music? Sam, are you a fan?
It was okay. I mean, I really like his old music, but I think this is more suited for his current kind of persona.
Yeah.
I like it. I like the look. I like the jacket. I like the glove.
I like the gimmick.
I am going to go as far as to say as I think this is the best traditional wrestling match in an empty arena I have seen so far.
Did you not watch Gargano Ciampa?
Yeah, I did, and I stick by this.
Oh,
I think this was a
fuck off.
much better.
John, Gargano Ciampa was a directed. That was like definitely loads of different takes.
Good
and
point.
Loads of different
Okay.
camera angles.
Good.
This was
That's good.
this was a traditional wrestling match.
Good. Okay. Well, I'll take that. That's fair.
I think this was a really good match.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this as well. Like
Yeah,
they
it
made
was
Drew
really
look really
decent.
strong. Some great spots in it. Like, yeah, it's good.
But a quick sidebar later, we'll discuss Ciampa Gargano because that match was crap.
No, I think it's the best match I've ever seen.
Oh no, John, don't. We'll lose listeners.
We're gonna add an extra 45 minutes to this podcast.
Okay,
Best match you've ever seen. Oh god, we'll do a spin-off. What do you think, Brett?
No, I agree. I mean, by that standard of empty arena matches, but
Yeah, going off about 20 matches.
yeah. So it's easy to pin your flag to that horse. But no, it was really decent, and it was like a straight up proper match, with no other frills or gimmicks or anything else, and it's good because Drew can do that as well, and it's nice seeing him given time to do that as well, rather than it being too quick a match where he just squashes someone or because he's a unit.
he's such a unit, isn't he? So big, he's so athletic, he's fast as well. He's amazing.
Yeah, and the Claymore looks so good as well.
Also, that spot where Drew was in the Tree of Woe and then he
my
reached up
God.
and launched Seth Rollins across the
Literally
ring.
just yeets him across the ring. It was mad.
I've never
was
seen
nice.
that spot before. It was incredible. I loved it.
Yeah, and he had those two belly to belly throws, like overhead throws before that, didn't he, as well, like off the rope. So it's good to see that, like, he's a great wrestler, but he uses his size as well in the moves that he executes
Yeah,
to show off that strength and that power, which is great to see.
Also with Steph managed to get him up for the Falcon Arrow. Was impressive as well.
Holy.
Oh, after the
I had to
superplex.
double take
Yeah.
that because I wasn't sure that actually happened.
It's a really good match. This really solid, good match.
Yeah.
I found I kind of thought that I had the similar feelings watching this that I had watching Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte, and it was half of it being like, this is a great match, but the other half being like, this is the kind of match that really desperately needs a crowd and would be so good if it had a crowd.
The crowd would have been electric.
The way it was laid out, the different spots, the different moments that we had, the stuff through the announce table, you just think, oh my God, imagine the pops for some of the near falls. It would have been one of the best WWE matches in ages.
Drew McIntyre did my favourite thing in wrestling, which is a 1 count about 15 minutes into the match, just to kick out.
Oh
on
yeah,
a 1.
kick out
that's
one late on
awesome.
is always good.
It's very cool.
Oh man, I thought this match was nearly perfect. I really enjoyed it so much. Like, just it was a good length, had a good story, had a great ending as well.
Yeah, good end sequence. Huge win for Drew as well, because Seth is the guy, isn't he, really?
And then the handshake afterwards. I mean, such a cool moment.
I was going to... can we talk about that handshake? What does that mean? What's all that about?
I think they're just saying that Drew is the guy. He is a huge face, and he's going to be a proper sportsman throughout this. I wouldn't be surprised if he does that after every match.
Oh, I hope so. That'd be cool.
Yeah, having watched Raw as well and seeing where the character of Seth has gone, because it's tweaked a bit more, and I really enjoyed his character, considering the news and everything. Just brilliant. Well played by him as well. Totally, I do like. There's bits about Seth that I, character-wise, that I don't like, but there's a lot that I do like as well. And sometimes he just gets it perfect, and you're a fan, and then other times it's just like, oh, Seth.
I wish I could replace the company man from The Wrestler, because as a wrestler, the Tyler Black, Seth Rollins kind of character, he's amazing. Unfortunately, the guy who sometimes ends up on Twitter defending the corporate policies of a billionaire, maybe not so much of a fan of that.
I think the empty arenas have done him good, because I bloody loved his match with Kevin Owens at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that was great.
I loved this match as well. Like, these are the best Seth matches for me.
I think heel Seth is always such a strong kind of character, in that he is just a very arrogant person, and he carries that really well in his matches. So I think kind of when he is going up against faces and he's kind of being a bit of a dick, it just works really well.
Yeah. Okay. Good match. We've had some good stuff on this. I think it's just been interesting to watch it in this environment, and I think the next match, or matches, or concurrent matches that are happening at the same time, sort of exemplifies the whole weird situation we're in. But I mean, again, I'd say sort of hats off to WWE for being creative and coming up with some different stuff, because I was really intrigued going into this. And when it started, when each of the wrestlers were coming out into the foyer or the gym, it's just like, this is so weird, but I am well up for it.
It felt like the Running Man.
Yeah. Oh, it did. Yeah.
When like people, ordinary people are getting called out into this weird scenario, and they're just about to go like put their lives on the line for money or something. It just had that feel.
It's funny because I think it's important, John and Sam, after WrestleMania, after the slightly different matches that we had there and Brett's feelings towards them, I was watching this thinking, I reckon Sam has enjoyed this. I reckon John has enjoyed this. Has Brett enjoyed this? What did you think, Brett?
I did really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Oh, I like the pause. Yay!
Because and unlike
Brett's a corporate shield.
Unlike the snore fest that was Edge versus Orton.
All right, no need for that.
Edge versus Orton was a snore fest, to be fair.
I thought you were going to say Taker.
No. This was like it was fun, and it didn't take itself too seriously.
No, it didn't.
Which was good, and because there was lots of people in it, it just made it different and made there be lots of different bits to it. So yeah, I enjoyed this. I mean, early days. Can I just mention like the Otis putting the bench press bar onto AJ? I just loved that.
God.
I was gutted that we didn't see how he got out of it though.
Well, he could have easily just slid out of there because it clearly wasn't pinning him down.
That was a bit rubbish, I thought, because it was. You see what they're getting at, but at least maybe test it before and see.
Yeah,
it was nowhere near him.
I had to watch it twice because I was that intrigued by it. And for the first time in about 3 years of doing this podcast, I actually ended up taking about 2 pages of notes as I watched it.
I've got so many notes because so
there
much
was
happened.
So much happening. Just a real insight into WWE corporate headquarters and the law that they kind of portray with their storylines. And it all starts with me saying, please do not moonwalk on marble floor, because my God, that sound is excruciating.
That was awful, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was nasty. Also, that bump onto the marble floor did not look nice.
Yeah, so we've been to a lot of live wrestling where people have cracked their heads on like wooden floors, and it's always looked a bit kind of like, ow. And then you have someone jumping off like a balcony onto marble.
Well, what about
I'm just
Dana
like,
Brooke with
oh
her
my-
slip and she hit the back of her head?
That looked nasty. I don't know even how you do that safely.
Well, I
That
don't
was
think
the
she meant
final
to.
shot of her in the whole thing as well. So presumably she's just unconscious now.
No, dead. But yeah, let's take it back to the beginning. Let's really just drink this whole thing in.
Okay.
I mean, I as it was getting up to I didn't know what the layout of this match was going to be, and I could see I only had about 40 minutes left, and I thought, well, are they going to do both matches at the same time?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I was the same. I was like, surely they're not going to do both at the same
Oh,
time.
man,
So
I was
happy they did.
convinced that they were just going to
Yeah.
do a squash and then a proper match.
Yeah,
But
honestly.
this was a great way of doing this. And then Dana Brooke did the flip, and I love the flip.
Looks cool. Does look so cool. It's sort of impossible to do.
I know, like, why that isn't her finisher, just doing that into someone.
Let's talk about the guys starting off in the gym. What was with Corbin smashing the mirrors and then that lingering
so
look?
amazing.
7 years
So-
of bad luck.
King Corbin.
Yeah.
That's it. He's got
Had-
7 years of bad luck. He's,
They're going to play
Yeah.
into
Do you
that
reckon
now.
that's what it is?
Yeah.
7
Do you
more
reckon
years
that is-
bad luck.
Well, yeah, I think they'll probably play into that now because they lingered on that for quite a while.
Oh man, it was so Twin Peaks. It was so weird. But man, King Corbin had an absolute screamer in this match, like smashing the mirror and then just having this kind of "Hello, darkness, my old friend" kind
Yeah.
of moment. And then that all gets followed up by him trying to win the women's Money in the Bank match,
yes.
failing to win it, and then deciding to do a double murder of Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black. Just
I genuinely laughed out loud, which doesn't happen. Even when I'm watching comedy, I don't even laugh out loud very much. I'll have a little, a snigger or whatever. But I laughed out loud when he threw Ray off the roof.
Yeah.
It was so funny. It looked hilarious. Absolutely brilliant.
It did. I was just like, hang on, he's just killed Ray. What? and then he killed Aleister Black, and I was like, what?
They both went flying.
They really did, didn't they?
But anyway, we're going ahead of ourselves. We need to talk about
Back to the beginning.
when the yes kicks to Corbin when Otis was yesing.
So good, yeah. Otis has the ability to be the most over guy no matter what situation he's in. Like, he's so charismatic.
Yeah, and his sort of place in a match like this and in this event sort of is what's needed. I think,
Yeah.
him for
Like
all
an
those
elimination
bits,
chamber.
he can sell those bits. He's entertaining, he is charismatic, and they can just play on so many different ideas because, he's got that character.
Mostly based on his size, but yeah.
Yeah.
he's got that
Not
briefcase.
necessarily a great wrestler either, but he's certainly funny.
So, is it canon that Brother Love just lives in WWE headquarters and they also have a Doink the Clown there?
Doink,
I
Yeah,
guess?
the clown thing.
Doink bit was weird because it definitely didn't look like
No.
Doink.
No, it was so strange. And John Laurinaitis as well, just
Yeah.
pissing around on a...
I always loved John Laurinaitis because just every time he speaks, he doesn't have a voice of what he looks like.
Oh, yeah, 100%. It always seems like someone's overdubbing him.
Yeah, it's weird. It's so weird.
There was just so many strange bits and pieces, like little Easter eggs. Like WWE literally have a room dedicated to burying people. That's cool.
Yeah, I thought the AJ Undertaker stuff was so good, like him being traumatized
so well
by the
done.
Undertaker.
Yeah, you forget how good
really
a
cool.
character AJ is until he does stuff like that, and you realise he can really play that up.
He was brilliant in this match. He was
Yeah,
really
he really was.
Seeing those massive pictures as well of previous
Yeah.
WrestleManias, just a little reminder of how life used to be and how far away we are from that. But
And then WWE literally just have a briefcase filled with money in their corporate
love
room.
that. In the Money in the Bank, what did Steph call it? It's like the Money in the Bank boardroom or conference room.
Yeah.
I love
know,
that.
like
I
the
want
way that was
case.
all presented, it was like a fever dream for Dana Brooke.
We need to replace our little lunchbox with one of those.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, I was like, surely you'd want to take that briefcase home. Like,
Yeah.
Dana, you won. Forget about the one on the roof. Just go home with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, I'm all right, Steph. I'll keep this.
Yeah.
So we had all that stuff in the main offices, and then Paul Heyman shows up, sat at a massive buffet.
Was he going to eat all of it? Was that his deal?
Well, he didn't want the strawberries. He didn't want the salad. He was going to eat all the
Ringo
sandwiches, and he was going to eat all the chicken. And then Otis gets totally frazzled by looking at a sandwich and shouts food fight. And the food, it hit Heyman's face, the facial expression that Heyman, in fact, I tweeted it just before from our account, something else. The rice all over Heyman's face, so funny. The way it's clung to the side of his face just was absolutely brilliant.
I can't believe he took that. I was so surprised when that happened. Like,
I loved that.
Yep.
Yeah,
I thought it was cool.
And then it was just,
It was
we had
very
the
cool.
chaos, and then we had the stuff with, Shayna doing the clutch on Ray for like, why? Well, why not?
That was my favourite bit when Shayna choked out Rey Mysterio. I loved that bit. She didn't do anything else in this entire match, really, but that bit was great.
Well, in a way, this isn't the kind of match you'd expect to see her in. 'Cause she's
it
a
was
killer.
so strange seeing Shayna Baszler and Aleister Black in this kind of match.
Yeah.
I thought Aleister Black was quite good. He came across quite funny, especially in the bit in the foyer, in the bottom. Like, he was like doing a bit of trash talk.
Yeah.
He came across quite charismatic.
Do you know who I actually do think came across really well in this match was Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. He was
Even
brilliant.
from the very beginning when he rocks up and he's just like laughing his head off and just like, all right, guys, let's have a fight.
The bit with him and AJ in Vince's office.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Where they put the chairs back at the end.
What I would give for a sitcom of AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan. Like,
Oh, good. Could we also talk about
Vince's jeans and
McMahon's
jackets.
office.
Oh, Vince McMahon's face. He looks like the guy from Men in Black. Like, he looks like an insect inside like a human skin.
It was a
McMahon.
surprise to see him there, I've got to say, with
Vince McMahon
high
has
risk.
so many fossils in his... He has a giant Tyrannosaurus head on him.
Yeah.
And then he turns around and you can see there's another one in like a case. Like, the dude must love dinosaurs.
Wouldn't you if you had the money Vince? If I had the money Vince had, I'd
If
have.
I had his
Tyrannosaurus
money,
Rex
I would
skeleton.
have like Macho Man's skeleton like on the wall.
Surely you'd have like Giant Gonzalez or Andre the
Yeah,
Giant.
I would
something
have all
really
of them.
big.
All of
like
them.
just like
All of them.
All of them. All of the
I would
hosts.
have them all frozen in
Oh
like
my days.
carbonite on the wall, like kind of Han Solo. Oh.
Twisted.
Man, that is dark.
All of
That
them
is dark.
except for Shane.
No, even Shane.
Yeah.
Shane would be there. He'd be on like. Do you know what? He would be kind of like mid coast to coast, but then frozen in it. It would be amazing.
Nice. So after Vince's office stuff, we finally got up to the roof and they got in the ring. And I was quite pleased that this bit was fairly short because I was thinking, oh God, I hope they don't get up to the ring and then start having a big old wrestling match. I was happy with the fact, I was totally fine with the fact that there were barely any wrestling moves in this whole thing. And we had the fun. And also I wondered if they were going to get up to the roof and then have like the women duke it out and then the men duke it out, which was why I was so delighted. And I thought, I bet Brett has a massive hard-on right now when Asuka basically knocked out Corbin or knocked him down.
Of all people as well, love Asuka.
Exactly. Your favourite against your least favourite.
But why does Corbin attack her?
Because he's a dick.
I think he just wanted to get his suitcase first.
Yeah.
didn't he? That's why
It just
issues.
made no difference.
He's the king. He's the king. He wants to be first.
Why?
Because he's a
She's the
awful man.
empress of tomorrow.
Exactly.
I feel like we've barely talked about Asuka as well. The bit where she was dancing in the elevator.
Yeah, and hiding as well when they were all like
Yeah,
kicking off in
so
that
good.
weird wrestling ring.
Oh, this match
Corridor.
really lent itself to her because she's so mental at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, all her
yeah,
dancing, all her moving
no-
side to side, so just everything.
Empty arena wrestling has lent it. Like, this has been great for
Yeah.
her. Because there may be some people who weren't really that aware of that side of her character or had missed the bits where she's had backstage promos and she's showed some of that sort of screaming in Japanese, but the fact she's doing it so much now, like the bit where she was doing it with the guy who was mopping.
It's not just the screaming; it's all the dancing too. Oh, that guy who was
Yeah.
mopping, I'm pretty sure that was actually Big Cass.
A very small version of Big Cass.
Yeah, it's just little Cass.
Little Cass.
So at the jumping a little bit ahead at the very end, the final line of this whole pay-per-view said is Michael Cole referring to Otis and Asuka as Mr. and Mrs. Money in the Bank.
Ooh.
Fair play, I guess.
What's your point there?
Just, Asuka, Mrs. Money in the Bank. Mrs.
Can we talk?
Married to Otis.
Can we talk? Let's move on. Can we talk about Otis? Obviously, this from obviously a few months ago, maybe when Braun beat Goldberg, I was so shocked. I thought this is one of the most shocking results we've ever seen in WWE. But this took me completely by surprise. I had no inkling that Otis would have even the slightest chance of winning this.
No, I don't think anyone did.
Yeah,
good, though.
It's an interesting choice.
Where does he go next? Like, surely he's not challenging Drew. He's not going to challenge Braun, is he? Tag?
I kind of think they might. I don't know. Maybe they'll sit on it for a year or so and see how it plays out. But I don't know. I'm sure they're just going to do some kind of joke.
They'll probably use it within the, obviously the Dolph Ziggler, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville storyline in some
Do
way.
you reckon? That's such a waste.
Is
It
it?
definitely. It's a weird one at the moment because like the whole thing with the Money in the Bank run-in is that kind of. It works so well as like kind of at the very end of a really hyped up event, and then it's just like, and one last thing, and then this heel runs out. And obviously with the empty arenas at the moment, they can't really lean into that too much. So I don't know. It's a weird one.
I mean, I like Otis, but this feels
I'd be worried if I was Tucker Knight.
way too soon. So soon. Like, what's he had? Like 2 matches?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, can he do any worse than Baron Corbin with it?
exactly.
All right.
I think there's no harm in somebody potentially cashing it in again and not winning. In a way, that should, you need a few of those so that people don't just assume you're automatically going to be the next champ.
Yeah.
The thing is that kind of you've had some less impressive winners as well. Like Damien Sandow held it for a while. Like, it's just one of those things, to be honest. Otis is a weird one, but I don't think he'll have any success with it. I'm sure this whole thing will end up being a punchline to a joke.
Yeah.
He's going to be Universal Champion at SummerSlam. That's what's going to happen. He's going to pin Brock.
I really enjoyed his Rocky moment at the end where he was just shouting out Mandy. But
But yeah, there you go. The winners were Asuka and Otis.
and the audience.
And us, the audience, because it was an awful lot of fun. Just so different and something that I think we'll be remembering for years and years to come. And I might even go back and watch.
This is the thing, is that kind of like, like during the spring quiz, and I was talking about like the monster truck match on the roof, and everyone was a little bit like, what the fuck? This is that. Like kind of 10, 15 years down the road, people will just be like,
yeah,
what in the world were they doing?
That was shit, though. This was good.
Anyway, let's move on. Before we get on to doing scores and MVP, should we quickly touch upon Raw, what happened there? And obviously it's very relevant to this match because Asuka is... she doesn't have the briefcase anymore. She's got the bloody belt and she is Raw Women's Champion. Why is that, Sam? Do you want to give people who might not know, might not have seen the news for some weird reason, let them know?
So yeah, Becky Lynch is having a baby, presumably Seth Rollins' baby. So
yeah,
thanks, Becky.
And the best thing about this is, well, obviously a new baby brings joy to so many, but Sam, you have Becky Lynch in your draft.
Yep.
It's almost like picking
Ouch.
Ronda Rousey, isn't it?
No, it's like I picked a genuine good wrestler who has had a years
there were
of
no
established
rumours,
wrestling.
no rumours of her leaving.
No, that's true.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
Well, this is mad, isn't it? This is
Good
absolutely
for
massive.
Becky and Seth.
Yeah.
Great for me as well, personally. I've got Asuka in the draft. Banging.
Yeah.
I'm furious. But I'm actually
What
surprised
you
this has
should
never
do-
happened earlier,
Find their address and just send them a couple of Johnnies. Just like, next time. FYI.
God. Yeah, I do find this a bit... It's kind of weird, like you say. It doesn't feel like it's happened before, but never before have we had a female star who has been such a large star and such a headline act. She's not quite at the peak of her powers, but she's not far off. Like maybe 6 months ago, when she was hugely over. But the fact that she's pregnant, it's not like a guy taking paternity leave. Oh, my wife's had the baby, I'm going to take 2 months off. She can't do any wrestling now when I don't know how pregnant she is. She's got to go full term. She's got to have the baby, and then she's going to be having maternity leave. She's gone for a long time now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long time.
She's expecting in December. So
Wow.
thanks, Becky.
But what a time to do it, so to speak.
I guess so, yeah.
because
Yeah.
let's skip all this stuff, and hopefully when she's back, so what do we reckon? Maybe, I don't know, April, May,
WrestleMania
June
next year.
something like that. Yeah.
Later than that.
Yeah,
I
probably
reckon.
later. Maybe
SummerSlam,
maybe SummerSlam. But what a comeback. And hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, there will be crowds to come back to, because that would be huge.
Yeah.
But yeah, big congrats.
You're right, though. I mean, she's also the face of the company at the moment, isn't she?
She
really?
is.
She does all the media and PR. And
Imagine when her and Seth went in and told Vince,
stuff. Oh my god!
I knew we shouldn't push women.
I wonder how quickly they're going to put a belt on Charlotte again.
I'm wondering
Well, another
whether it's
belt.
going to be a hand, and it turns out it's not a baby at all.
Oh, I thought you meant put a hand on Charlotte. Okay. I like it. Yeah, Mark Henry's the dad. That'd be incredible. Anyway, so I'm sure we'll talk more about that situation as the weeks and months go on. But I mean, we all watched that. We should mention quite emotional, clear emotion there, and clearly
Oh my God,
somebody
yeah.
else
Oh.
who's a massive fan of Asuka, because she was
So
laughing.
Asuka wasn't told beforehand.
Okay, I
It did
thought
come
it seemed
across
genuine.
that way. I was
Genuine.
thinking whether it was genuine.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Her reaction was amazing.
It was so lovely, and then
was
Becky's
really
reaction
good,
to that
yeah.
was just really, really lovely too.
It was a great little video.
It was a really
little
great moment.
And also, very quickly, WWE get a lot of stick, and rightly so, and we all think there's a lot of them are scumbags, especially at the top of the company. But quite nice to hear how thankful that Becky was with the chance they gave her and the push they gave her. And there are a lot of wrestlers who do owe a lot to that company, and there are a lot of wrestlers who really don't as well.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Good and bad.
let's have a break. Let's get some listener comments on Money in the Bank, and then let's wrap up this podcast.
Good Lord. Emerald Frozen on the apron. He is a bad, bad boy. And ladies and gentlemen, that apron is not to play with. It's not to be trifled with or wrestled on.
Okay, we've got a few comments. Most of them pretty positive. Let's get it going. Adam Evans Pringle. Brother love appearing from the toilet cubicle looking extra constipated was a particular highlight. Found quite a lot of that Money in the Bank match pretty cringy though. Ooh. Had I watched it with a friend who thought wrestling was shit, it wouldn't have helped my argument, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Interesting.
do you know what's strange is that kind of crossed my mind in that it was one of those totally mental matches, and like having a food fight and stuff. And it's true, like if somebody walked in who you respect who didn't know you watch wrestling, you'd be like, honestly, it is good. It is really good.
I don't know. I think
Yeah, I think the thing is, I
Yeah.
think that sells what wrestling is. Wrestling is every form of entertainment you could imagine in one, in one form, which is what is amazing about it.
That was an entertainment match,
As well,
not a
like,
wrestling match.
As a kid, I would have loved this match.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
if I was watching this when I was like 10 or 11, I would have been so into it.
Yeah, I guess that's his point, Adam's point, in a way.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. We're running out of time. Capital Clan Face. Absolutely loved it. Loved the uniqueness of the Money in the Bank match happening at the same time. Silly and serious at the same time. Drew versus Seth and Bray versus Braun were great in different ways, showing that pure wrestling and character-based both have their place in the ethos.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
agree with all of that.
Good, great points. Wrestle Plug. Thought it was fun and quick fire pay-per-view. Loved the Money in the Bank matches. Funny and thrilling, and Otis is my new king. His face before he shouted food fight had been hysterics. Loved Drew versus Seth too. That's how a WWE title match should be booked. Also, Tamina versus Bayley was good. 8 out of 10.
Thank God Amir at WrestlePlug said 8 out of 10, because it reminded me we haven't done our ranks, so we will do those in a
I
minute.
thought that came
my
after this.
God. No, it's usually before the listener
No.
Oh,
comments.
really?
Oh, God. Go on then.
Okay, last
more.
one. Loser weight. Matches were all entertaining, but really everything pales in comparison to the Money in the Bank match. Ridiculous in the best way. AJ, Asuka, Dana and Bryan did some great, by WWE standards, comedy. Highlights were AJ's Undertaker PTSD and Dana running in with the frame still over her head.
That was great.
Good
That
stuff.
was good. Yes, well, thanks for those comments. I'm pleased to hear that everybody enjoyed it as well, because sometimes you watch it and you think, God, I'm really enjoying this. Am I the only one? But it seems like most people did. Star performer. Let's do that very quickly. I'm guessing it's going to be between the likes of Asuka and Otis. I'm going to go for Otis because nobody would have predicted this. John.
Asuka for me.
Sam?
King Corbin.
Brett? King Corbin too?
No, Asuka. I'm going
Okay.
with Asuka as well.
Overall rank, there were a couple of dud matches. There was no crowd, so I can't go too high, even though I did really enjoy it. I'm going to give it a 7.75. Sam?
I really enjoyed this a lot. I think I would actually go back and I think next year, like hopefully when all this lockdown stuff has ended, I would still be up for watching another like a once a year match like this. So I would go 9.
Wow.
Huge. I mean, this match had Lashley versus R-Truth. This pay-per-view had a Lashley.
That's why I said 10. But I mean,
That's
you
what.
look at it like that's a 3-minute match. Like a lot of these matches on the card was really good. It was good length. The main event was really entertaining.
Yeah,
Had a bit of everything.
no, you're right. John?
I agree with Amir. It's an 8 for me.
Ooh, and Brett?
I'm going to be a little bit more conservative, but I did enjoy it, so it's a solid 7 from me.
What's the average there, Sam?
So yeah, that's a 7.938 overall.
Decent.
Sandwiching it nicely between NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff and WrestleMania 36 Night 1.
That is hugely surprising, isn't it? Nobody would have predicted it to be that good, would they?
You know what? Not as good as Money in the Bank 2018.
Right, we have got to the end. Brett, no preamble here. Just tell us how people can get in touch.
They can send their emails to hardestpartofthering@gmail.com, and they can catch us on Instagram, Facebook or Twitter. We are at hardestpartpod.
And people may want to get in touch to talk about their excitement for next week's episode, because we teased it on the previous episode, but we are doing something a little bit different. Sam, what are we doing?
Next week, we're going to be doing The Undertaking, the first ever episode of it. It's a retrospective looking back at The Undertaker's career, all of his pay-per-view matches, and us just basically watching all of them back to back, simultaneously in a row as we go.
Nice.
And then reviewing them.
All very exciting. And then, guys, I realised the next pay-per-view we get to review is Backlash. We were surprised. We enjoyed WrestleMania. We were surprised again. We enjoyed Money in the Bank. Are we going to enjoy Backlash? Like, what special match can they put together there?
Backlash is always historically shit. Isn't it?
Am I right in thinking that Backlash was cancelled last year because they didn't want the irony of Backlash
Oh,
being
yeah.
the name of something?
Yeah, but after the Saudi show.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Weird.
Maybe they need to start a feud between Aleister Black and Bobby Lashley, and then they can rename it Blacklash.
We've had that though, wasn't that at
Yeah, I
WrestleMania?
think we did have that. Yeah. No, please don't do that again. Okay, that is the end of the podcast. Let's wrap it all up. Thank you to everybody who's listened and got in touch and sent comments and all that kind of stuff. We are very excited about the undertaking next week. I hope you are too. But until then, it's goodbye from me, Adam. It's goodbye, Sam.
Oh yeah, sits and reps.
Goodbye to you, John.
Goodbye.
And goodbye to Brett.
Goodbye.
That was the hardest part of the ring.
That is the hardest part of that ring.
For the hardest